What kind of impact has the series had on the actual people who live in the city?
What kind of impact has the series had? That's a very hard question to answer, really, because I only hear some of it, you know. Generally speaking, I would say it falls into several categories. Probably the biggest category is people who it's like a cult thing with them now, you know. All over the city, I should say, this is one of the coolest things. If you want to talk about the difference between writing novels and writing for television, all over the city at these different bars and you know, bars and grills, corner places, whatever. If they have TV sets, they all got. If they have cable, now everybody has cable. They got HBO when Treme was going to start to air, so they could have Treme parties. So everywhere in New Orleans on Sunday night now, there are these gatherings at all these bars, the Bridge Lounge, all over the place. There's even a funeral party, Charbonnet funeral party. That has, Mary told me about it. They have showings. Can you hear me? By the way, did this go down? They have showings in the back room. So you walk in past the, you know, I'm so sorry about it. He was a wonderful man. And then, but anyway, so everybody has these big gatherings, and it's a gas, man. And then people talk about it, and people argue about it online. There's something like, I don't know at this, at least four or five blogs dedicated just to Treme. Dark Brown Waffles, Back of Town, Treme Jazz. There are all these different blogs. So there's like this kind of ongoing midrash after every episode, where people are kind of breaking it down and talking about. So there's a tremendous enthusiasm, and people, I would say, by and large, are like very enlivened, you know. And then the filming, it's all on. Or there's a set. There's like a little set city that we have across on the West Bank, where certain sets had to be constructed. So the kitchen for one of Des Hotels restaurants, this, that, or the other little set was, but most of, I would say 90% of the filming is done on location, either in a house that we rented for the purpose, or actual restaurants, or whatever it might be. So there's always that excitement of, oh, Treme's filming over there, you know, the cast is eating in the restaurants. It's an exciting thing, there's no question about it. So most people are excited. There are some, especially in season 1, there was a degree of like, there was a thing of like, they had those trucks on my street and I couldn't get home for 2 days. There was a certain amount of that, right? And then something I took more seriously, which was that in the immediate, in the run-up to the show especially, before it started airing, there was a certain percentage, I don't know what percentage, there was a certain stratum of people who were kind of like, there was a similar vibe when they were discussing whether to have Mardi Gras the first year after Katrina, where people were like, wait a second. And a bunch of people just friggin' died in the street and were found floating, and you're going to have a party? And I don't think so, you know. That was a respectable, that was a certain vein, but most people thought, no wait, this is what we do. The whole thing is about asserting being, you know, with defiant grace in the face of mortality. So we're not going to have Mardi Gras now? I don't think so. And they ended up prevailing. All right, so there was some of that same kind of split of emotional affect in people's response to Treme. In certain strata of people, kind of like a dramatic series, you know, directed by somebody who doesn't live here, David Simon, you know, so there was a certain degree of pushback against it, I think, just almost on a, and small, like maybe 15% of the mix, you know. But it was there, and it was worth taking seriously. But I will say that, you know, there was such is scrupulosity a word? Anyway, everybody was so scrupulous about making sure that all the detail was correct, making sure that the interiors looked the way they looked, making sure that what happened on a certain street would have happened, all of that, you know, that I think once people saw the series as it played out, a lot of those kinds of concerns were allayed. And now you still have, there's a certain vein. I think a lot of these people, I don't want to name a specific parish where they might live, but maybe a parish where it went all for David Duke and the governor's race. There's a certain vein of people who just don't like the series. Some people maybe it's done not enough action for it, because it's not an action-driven series. It's really a character, it's a different kind of thing. But some people just don't care for it for that way. There are other people who it's very clear, how can I put this? Maybe they don't like seeing all this black and white together, and so you get a certain vein of really snarky comments on the NOLA.com website, which is a time-picking website, like, oh, it's a boring show, blah, 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 so it's crap, blah, blah, you know, really, right, and it's actually, it's kind of clear. You check, you know, it's like, you know, signed Duke for governor, or whatever. Anyway, so, you know, so it's been a mix, but by and large, really, it's just been this incredible embrace of the show. And it is, I will tell you, it is fun to go to one of those bars where they're showing it. And this is what I was going to say, you know, the viewership of season 2 was somewhere around 600 first-time viewers for each episode, 600,000 first-time viewers for each episode, which in television terms is sort of more or less pathetic, you know. Yeah. And now, if anybody, if City of Refuge had sold 600,000, I'd be doing this event by Skype from my house in Bimini, you know. So you know, so it's there's that quote, but in TV, but to go into to know that over 500,000 people, and a million cumulatively at least, you know, are watching something that you wrote. It's an incredible thrill. And to go there and in real time watch everybody watching it and responding to it and laughing and hollering at the characters and going, no, don't do it, you know, or whatever it might be, that's fantastic. The novel thing is very different. When you're writing a novel, it's one person to one person. You know? You're talking, there's this very intimate dance that's going on between the writer's consciousness and the individual readers sitting there reading. So, you know, some people think, you know, the show Simon's work has been compared to Dickens and a lot of writers, and I don't think the comparison is fair to either. It's something different. It is a different kind of thing, but I'm getting away from the question.
I think we have time for one more question.
No, I want to
No, more? Okay, let's go here. Okay, 3 more questions.
Okay, and he in the back had one too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming. I was just wondering, I'm very interested in becoming a TV writer.
Yeah.
I think my screenwriting, but do you have any practical advice for a young person trying to become a TV writer? And what intangibles do you need to get into the business?
Okay, the second part is easier for me to answer probably than the first part, which is because the thing, if you ask me if I had any advice about like how to go about getting your book published, I could lay it on you, you know, but I can't with the TV thing because it was so freakish the way it happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wrote a book and then I got a call. It was like the old show, The Millionaire. You know, the guy knocks on your door. Here's $1 million. See you later. It's like, no, not that I. But anyway, you know, let's just be clear. But you know, basically, I was in. I got a call out of the blue. You know, essentially saying, "Come write for the show." I know you've never written. Come be a writer for like one of the coolest things you could imagine writing for. So I can't tell you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to do that. I would bet that there's and maybe somebody, if there's anybody who's done television, I could tell me this. You know, in the literary world, there are these writers' conferences where you go, and their agents come and editors come, and they talk shop, and there's practical, like little miniature courses and novel readings. But I'm sure that probably there's some kind of American Television Institute or some kind of like organization like that probably has conferences like that. I don't know, but when you go to places like that, you meet people who do it, and really. It's 2 parts of it. It's doing it at a high level and practicing doing it and getting critique, and then it's meeting people and you know, so much of getting work in any field like that is just word of mouth. As far as actually doing the work and helpful hints, it's very important to get along with people. I really found that out. You know, it's if somebody says something that's off the wall, you know, I kind of, you know, I come from a different kind of, I come more from the Apollo Theater kind of vibe. It's like, get off the stage, you dumb. I come more out of that vibe, you know. So it's been a learned behavior for me to actually, and I'm an only child, so it's like a learned behavior for me to actually sit in a room with people, and somebody says, well, I think Cal Morgan should grow a devil head in episode 2, to kind of go, how about if we don't do the devil's head, but maybe we, you know, to have that kind of